Our next speaker is Kiku Loomis. Kiku came to this program with 2 decades in corporate social responsibility, and she came here to expand on that learning and to invest in her passion for marine conservation and specifically marine mammals. So let's welcome Kiku Loomis.
I celebrate a tale. The more I consider this mighty tale, the more do I deplore my inability to express it. Herman Melville, Moby Dick, 1851. Sperm whales are iconic, nearly mythical creatures. They have sparked fear, awe, and the drive for profit in Western culture for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. I'm holding a bottle of spermaceti. Spermaceti oil is where the sperm whale gets its name. The oil comes from the sperm whale's head, and only sperm whales. It's unique to them. It was used for candles and lamps, and as a superior lubricant for industrial machinery. You could say that it lit and lubricated the Industrial Revolution. Now, we think of whaling as a 19th century phenomenon, and there is a notion that whaling subsided when petroleum and electricity were introduced. But the height of the harvest occurred after World War II, when widespread use of exploding harpoon guns and huge factory ships enabled the mass harvest of all kinds of whales. All told, 1 million sperm whales were harvested during these periods. With their numbers declined, popular sentiment turned against whaling. Sperm whales were finally listed on the endangered species list in 1970 and further protected by the U.S. Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972. Commercial whaling of sperm whales was ended in 1988. Sperm whales are slowly recovering in some regions, but they're still threatened by other human activities such as pollution, like this mess found in the stomach of a sperm whale. Ship strikes, ships really have to slow the fluke down. Becoming entangled in fishing gear, underwater noise, and the all-purpose threat, climate change. Now, in order to protect these whales, we're going to need to know a little bit more about them. And we do know a few things. They are the 3rd largest whale. They live up to 70 years. Sperm whales have the biggest head and the biggest nose in the animal kingdom, which enables them to make the loudest sound, so loud it could break your eardrums, theoretically. They can dive over 2 kilometers for their prey. They sleep like this. Females live in long-term social units, and the males leave these units for higher latitudes as they get older. So with all of this knowledge, you might be surprised to hear that we still have a lot to learn about sperm whales. In all of the studies I read, one phrase kept repeating: we don't know much about these animals. For example, we're still learning about their social structure, their movements and migration patterns, their mating habits, their culture, and communication. This knowledge is critical for better management and protection of these special whales. For my research, I focused on the Northeast Pacific, from Alaska, along the West Coast, and out to Hawaii, where there are an estimated 30,000 sperm whales. Now, we know that mature males tend to migrate to high latitudes, like the Gulf of Alaska. But one gap in our knowledge is we'd like to know where these males go when they go to reproduce. We only have a bit of information. We'd need to know more. Now, as part of its mandate, NOAA conducts regular cetacean surveys, collecting data on species, on the numbers that they find, bioacoustics, genetic samples, and photographs. Now, for 19 years, NOAA has collected photo ID for sperm whales but they have yet to fully collate them and catalog them and make them available to the public. So, for my capstone, using the NOAA data, I developed a catalog of photo ID for sperm whales in the Northeast Pacific. My research was designed to contribute to a larger population study of sperm whales in the region that NOAA plans to conduct. My research addressed the following key questions. What can photo ID tell us about the social structure, their movements and migration, and where do those mature males go? But I want to take a step back and tell you what is photo ID. Photographic identification. Well, whales' tails are like their fingerprints. Scientists can use the trailing edge, the nooks and crannies and any markings that they have to recognize an individual over multiple sightings. Photo ID is valued as a non-invasive way to track an individual over long distances and time periods. It's extremely useful for a species that can live decades and travel thousands of miles. Now, once you have all those photos, looking for a good photo ID is almost as hard as finding a sperm whale on the high seas. So I gathered all of those NOAA photos and went back to the lab, and to find the usable shots, I went through dozens of survey cruises, hundreds of sperm whale sightings, and thousands of photos, and lots of coffee. And then after selecting the best photos, I was finally able to create a catalog, giving each whale a unique name, along with the location, GPS location, the date, and if we had it, the sex, the size of the group, and any notable behavior. I examined each photo to see if it was unique or if it was a match to a previous sighting of that whale, hoping for a match. And because the Pacific Ocean is vast, to expand my data set, I had to rely on collaboration with other research organizations. So I worked with the Sea-Swap project of the University of Alaska to see what we could learn by combining my data with their 124 identified whales. Also, more likely to be male sperm whales since they live up there. I also collaborated with the Hal Whitehead Lab, which studies sperm whales in the Galapagos Islands and Eastern Tropical Pacific for 4 decades, as well as the Cascadia Research Collective for Hawaii and the West Coast, again, looking for matches that could give insights into my research questions. Matching photos manually is a painstakingly slow process, making it the perfect candidate for artificial intelligence. Flukebook and Happy Whale, yes, that's what they're called, are 2 online platforms that harness AI to automate the analysis of photo ID for whales and other species. It reduces to minutes what used to take hours, and so I use these platforms to help me analyze the data and compare with other collections that had saved their photos to these platforms. But let's get to what we found. This GIS map shows the distribution of the 810 sightings of all the sperm whales seen during the NOAA surveys for 33 years. The dots in green represent the Alaska whales, and the NOAA photos are in red. Not shown here are the Cascadia Research and the Whitehead Lab. The Whitehead Lab has about 9,000 photo ID. And I looked for matches between all of these catalogs. So what did we find? We did find some matches. This one in Mexico traveled 41 kilometers in 3 weeks. This one was off the coast of Oregon and California and covered 500 kilometers in about 5 weeks. And this one was seen off the coast of Peru and then spotted 9 months later by the Whitehead Lab, having traveled 1,300 kilometers south. So using these data, you can see how they move about and get a little window into their lives. But I'm excited to introduce you to Mango. Mango is a mature sperm whale first seen in the Channel Islands off Long Beach, California in 1996. He was seen there again in 2003 and once again in 2010. In fact, Mango had his close-up taken 15 times by various researchers between 1996 and 2012. Now, preliminary and unpublished satellite data gathered by the Cascadia Research Collective in their BRS program showed mango foraging around the Channel Islands as expected, but then abruptly taking off, quickly traveling down southeast toward the Galapagos Islands, a location known to be inhabited by groups of lady sperm whales. So mango adds important information to our understanding of sperm whales, but it also reminds us that we have a lot to learn by looking at the data. So what's next for this research? I will work with Cascadia to incorporate more data into the catalog, and I'm writing a technical memo which will be published by NOAA after peer review and made publicly available on its website. Hopefully, it will be incorporated into that bigger population study together with acoustic recordings, genetic data, and tagging data. The photos will also live on in Happy Whale and Flukebook. I'm thankful that today people are shooting whales with cameras and not harpoon guns. My catalog will create a foundation for research going forward so that we can continue to build our knowledge about this amazing species. Sperm whales are now prized not for their oil, but by whale watchers, the ecotourism industry, and scientists looking for insights into their unique biology and behavior. These whales have given us so much. I hope that this catalog will add just one new bit of knowledge so that we can give back to them. Thank you. Maura.
Hi, Kiku. Great presentation. So some of your whales get names like NEP_12, and then other ones get very fun names like Mango. I was curious about the naming formatting, and also if you got to pick any of the whales' names, if there might be a Samantha Murray sperm whale out there now or something.
Okay, great question, and thank you for that. Well, Mango is a longer story, and you'll have to catch me in the break to learn how he got his name. The naming convention is Northeast Pacific, and it's often just a NEP, 001 is what you give some whales get special names under special circumstances. So.
I've got a quick question, if that's okay, Kiku.
Sure.
What a terrific resource, this catalog, that I hope can be used by, NOAA and scientists and maybe even other agencies and other organizations. I wanted to ask, the funding cuts that we've seen to NOAA lately over the last couple of months, how do you think that might impact the ability of this catalog to get out to everybody and to realize its full potential?
Well, for this catalog, I'm committed to making sure that it reaches the destination, which is the publication on the NOAA website. But you're right, funding is threatened, and in this new budget, looks like it's further threatened. So I just encourage everybody in this room to call the representatives and make sure that they express their support for NOAA and encourage that we fully fund NOAA going forward. Yeah.
And it is time for us to take a break. Great job, Kiku. Thank you so much.